Welcome. Welcome to Open Dialogue.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to Open Dialogue. I'm Becca,
I'm Anna.
and we are here for episode number two.
Two. Two.
And we're going to be reading some Reddit stories.
Reddit.
We got some spooky things we're going to read about today since it is the month of October. And we're also going to share Oktoberfest experiences, which she has way more than me. So I think you should start.
Okay.
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 So, in the city that we live in, Oktoberfest is kind of a big deal here. We live in the US, so we're not going to be as big as like some of the cities in Germany by any means, but for the United States, we live in a city where Oktoberfest is pretty big. And I have gone pretty much every single year since I think 2016. I don't know why I'm looking at you like you would know.
2016
2016,
sounds about
2017,
right.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Before I even was old enough to drink, because I was going and I love the food, I like the music, I like the little dances that they do every hour in like the center of the festival, the games, all the things.
The vibes.
The vibes. So, we go pretty well every year. We So our city has like a main Oktoberfest, but we also have a lot of like local breweries in town. And I'm gonna start with one of the experiences we had at a local brewery Oktoberfest, as opposed to like the big one that the city puts on. So, my partner and I are just kind of walking down the street in downtown one day during October, of course. And we round the corner, and there's all kinds of lights and people, and there's like little entryway booths set up. And we're like, what is happening? So we go in, they tell us it's the Oktoberfest for this brewery, and we're like, oh, okay, for sure. And admission was like $5, I think, which I mean, it was a few years ago, but even then for an event, that's pretty cheap. So we were like, yeah, for sure, we'll do this. We'll see what it's about. Um, it was an absolute blast. Like it was maybe like 2 blocks, like two of downtown's blocks worth, like north downtown. So like small, like neighborhood block type areas.
Yeah.
Um, but it was so much fun. Like we did axe throwing, they had some kind of, I don't know what the proper name of it is, but you have like cones and rings and you throw it and you try to get the ring over the cone, but they were massive, so it was really hard. And then they had like the normal like stein hoist where you stand there and you hold the stein out that's full for however long, but they also had a keg hoist. So you had a whole keg, which it was like one of the half kegs. It was like that big around and like that tall. So it's not like, like a human sized keg. It's like a small child sized keg. And they did not differentiate between male and female because a lot of times in at least our main city run one that we've got here, they do competitions for males, competition for female. And they just kind of had everyone grouped into one thing on this one. And this like random group of guys that we had somehow befriended in the middle of all of this pushed me to the front and volunteered me to do this keg hoist.
Oh.
And it's literally just holding a keg out in front of you. Arms have to be straight, back has to be straight. If the keg touches you or your arms drop at all, you're out. Well, not to say that there was foul play and I should have won, but there was foul play and I should have won. There was me and one other girl standing, and this lady, her arms were down. She was leaning back, staring up at the clouds. And I was. So at that point, we had been going like 5 minutes. Like this had been going on for a while. And now, while these kegs are smaller, they're still extraordinarily heavy. And my hands had gone numb from holding them because I wasn't in great shape at the time. So I was doing my darndest. My arms had gone numb and just essentially gave out. So I lost, but it's fine. It was a jolly old time. And the people I went with were fantastic, even though we had like greeted them
Mhm.
at the or we had met them at the thing or at the festival. It was great, but I definitely should have won that. So going back to the normal Oktoberfest that we do, um, I've got some interesting stories, but I feel like we've heard my voice enough, so let's move on to you
Yeah.
for a minute.
So this little competition that you were talking about
Mhm.
kind of reminds me of when me and your partner entered into a
So
confrontation. Like
good.
it was a competition. I don't remember what it was called, but we had like we have one
Mhm.
leg each in a like gunny sack, right? Was it a gunny sack?
Are you talking about the barrel one?
Was it a barrel?
Yeah. You didn't have your legs tied up, but you could only use one hand on the barrel. And you couldn't like pick up the barrel. You just had to like push it like down the thing and back.
I don't remember. But anyways, we were winning.
Mhm.
We were winning.
Winning.
We were ahead of everyone. And then I flopped like a fish, which I tend to do.
Yeah.
And we lost.
Oh yes.
We lost sorely.
Mhm.
Um I think didn't we try to do another one too? Do another competition?
I don't remember. That was a long time
It was a
ago.
really long time ago.
Many years.
I think that would have been the 2016. No, 2017. Anyways, um, that was funny. I think we have a video of it somewhere.
It exists somewhere, maybe in the cloud.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun. And there, I don't know if that was the same time. I think it was a different time we went. And there was this, like, it was like the only roller coaster there. It was like a miniature roller coaster. And I love roller coasters so much. But she's an old lady
Mhm.
and she can't handle them,
Yep.
which honestly, I don't know if I can anymore either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been on a roller coaster in
Not
years.
my favorite thing.
But she got like so nauseous. Like so nauseous. I did it like 3 more times by myself. But that was fun.
Not my thing.
Yeah. But that's really all I have for Oktoberfest. So you go for it, girl.
The other ride that you made me get on in the same year is called the Freak Out, and I sure did. So this particular ride, you're like in this like circle type of arrangement, and there's three seats on each like side of this circle. There's four sides, so I guess maybe it's a square. Anyway, uh, um, and the circle is rotating as the entire like lever and machine is rotating, so it's like doing this kind of thing as it's like swinging back and forth, like to the point where it goes so far up that you're upside down while you're still rotating. uh I can't handle a baby roller coaster, so y'all tell me how well I handled the freak out. I thought I was dying. I probably had like 3,000 out of body experiences. I may have passed out at one point. I did not handle that very well. It was awful. It was terrible. That's yeah, that I remember that so vividly. I Jesus was calling me home on that day. Um I but for other experiences, I For rides, first of all, my worst experiences at Oktoberfest have been the rides. So I don't do rides at Oktoberfest anymore, or just kind of in general, I don't do them because I'm a baby. Uh, but we got on, so there's another circular ride that rotates, but it's like a big drum kind of thing. It's a super popular ride. I don't remember what it's called, but it's probably at every single state
Oh.
fair festival that you can think of.
Mhm.
This was one of the first years that we went to Oktoberfest, and we went with Robert's sister.
Mhm.
At the time, his sister was 15, 16, so she was very much so a minor. She did not want to get on the ride. So she stood down and waited for us by the man who was running the machine. Uh,
Man.
this full
Man.
grown man who proceeded to flirt with her for what felt like an eternity, but probably was closer to about 10 minutes. At this particular time, it was still pretty early in the evening, so there weren't a whole lot of people there yet, so there wasn't a line. So I'm pretty sure this man just got lost in this flirtatious conversation with an underage girl. And we got stuck on the ride for a very long time. And while that ride typically is pretty benign, it was absolutely horrific by the time I got off of it, and I felt like I was spinning for probably 7 days afterwards.
Mhm.
It was too much. It was too much. Uh, oh my gosh. I could probably go on and on and on for like hours
What
for
about the
Oktoberfest.
roofie?
Yeah.
The
So
roofie
last
experience.
year we went with a friend from a different city. He had come down to see us for the weekend, specifically for Oktoberfest, because he had never been. He was super excited. He was finally 21, so he wanted to go and be able to have a good old beer. And we decided to really live it up, you know, really, really live it up. And we stayed way later than we should have. Typically, we check out at around like 11 o'clock at night because that's when it starts getting really crazy there. Um, like fights breaking out because people have gotten so inebriated that they cannot control themselves anymore. Like weird stuff just starts happening, stuff that I feel like I'm too old for. So
Yeah.
we typically check out at like 11:30. Well, we lived on the crazy side that night. It was like 12:45, and we were walking into the main tent there, which has like the headliner DJ for the night. So it was also Saturday night. Saturday night saw the festival. They have their headliner, which is like the person they hype up for the entire festival. Like they're gonna be here Saturday night. So
Woo!
this massive tent is packed to the brim with people. We get in there. We're packed in closer than sardines in a can, and we're trying to shimmy our way through to get through because there's so many people. And Robert's got his stein out. Not like out, like that's disrespectful. Maybe it's not. I'm not much of a festival guru. Maybe it's not. Anyway, he's holding it by himself, kind of like hovered over it because we're trying to get through the crowd, and he feels like a plop in his drink, a couple plops. And he was like, "What?" And at this point, I'm short enough that I am starting to get buried in the sea of people. So I start freaking out a little bit. It just smells like straight BO and beer.
Mm, not
Um
a good mix.
and as someone who is small in stature, I slip into the crowd easily.
Mhm.
So I start panicking. And our friend was the closest one to me. So I grabbed his arm and I was like, I got to get out of here. And he was like, okay, we'll follow you. So he grabs Robert because he's quite a bit ahead of me. And I start running for the end of the tent. And before we even get out of the tent, they have caught up with me, of course, because they're much larger than me. And this random man starts like talking to Robert, and like trying to bet him something. I don't even know what he was doing. Like this guy was so inebriated that he was not the words that he was saying were English, but they didn't make any sense. But the general gist is that he was trying to like have some kind of bet or something going on and he kept saying like, "Man, I'm not interested. Like you need to step away. Like I'm not interested. You are too close to me. This is too much." And this dude was just not taking the hint. And so we kind of did like a subtle like shimmy by one of the cops that's standing there as he loudly said, "Dude, I'm not interested." So that caught the cops' attention because this other guy is just acting a fool. And the cop starts talking to this guy. So we escapade from that.
Escape.
Escapade. And we get around the corner towards a little more quiet, and also the crazy guy isn't following us. And Robert looks in his drink, and there's like little bits of floaty stuff in it, which kind of maybe were drugs. We're not sure. And then there was also a penny in there, which we looked it up. Again, I'm not a festival guru, so this apparently, I guess, I don't know if it's like an Americanized tradition or if it's like truly a German tradition, but apparently if you put a penny in someone's drink, it's like good luck or something like that. I'm not sure. So the penny was like a, bro, why'd you put a penny in my drink? I was drinking that. But then also the little floaty bits were a little concerning. So after that entire cluster of a mess, that all took place in about 5 minutes from start to finish, we decided it was time to retire for the night. And we poured out the rest of our drinks because you can't leave with stuff in your steins, and we headed home. It was, I would 100% say, all in all, a fantastic night. It was so much fun, but definitely watch your drinks, my dudes. Watch your drinks.
Yeah.
So
No floaties.
no floaties.
No floaties.
Yeah. And I suppose to spare you all the boredom of me rambling on about Oktoberfest for the next 8 hours. We should move on to our next topic at hand. Did you want to start?
I can.
Okay, cool. Let's hear it.
Okay. So my spooky story is actually on Am I the A-hole?
Okay, right on.
Okay.
Right on. I'm excited for this one.
Am I the a-hole for telling my fiance she needs therapy and the apartment isn't haunted?
Oh, I don't know how you found that. That's perfect.
My fiance Lynn and I, both 28, have been together for 5 years now. We are in a great relationship, so I can't really complain much about it. In terms of personalities, we get along good, have many similarities, and also many differences. For one, I'm atheist and I don't believe in anything supernatural or spiritual. Lynn, on the other hand, is very spiritual and believes in the other side and has told me accounts of supernatural things that have happened throughout her life. Well, fast forward to now, in this whole issue, we moved and now this whole issue, we moved into a new apartment last year together, and it's caused nothing but constant stress for her. And now me. The people in the apartment building are pretty nice, but I do admit everybody there is a little strange. They all go into each other's apartments, have keys, hang out together. There are 6 units.
It's a little too friendly for me. I don't like most people that much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
This apartment was made in the 1800s. So it's an old Victorian house.
That sounds gorgeous.
It sounds
And
haunted.
haunted, yes. But gorgeous architecture.
Absolutely. No doubt it has history, but the stuff
Mhm.
that's happened has been weird. But I don't believe it's due to supernatural things. I think it can all be explained. Lynn seems to think it can't be explained since all of these issues seem to happen and stop all at once. When there's a presence in the apartment, Some weird things do happen, and it does stop when said spirits leave. Okay, so how does it happen when the spirit's there? Stop happening when the spirit leaves if it's not haunted.
I don't know.
This is what
You
he's
tell
saying.
me. You tell me.
The first time all this happened was a month after we moved in. The issue seemed to be in the kitchen. Our cat peed in the kitchen in the middle of the floor, which she never does and never wants to go in the kitchen. The broom in between the fridge and wall would fall over randomly when there was nobody there. This is what happened the most.
Mm. The
It
broom
sounds
falling
like,
over part.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it sounds like there would be somebody opening our back doors with keys, but that could be contributed to the wind. She said when this happens, the first sign is her feeling of being watched in the shower, but that's just paranoia. Shampoo bottles fell off the shower. I thought maybe a neighbor did it by slamming the door, but nobody was home the day I personally witnessed it.
So my dude watched his shampoo bottles fall over
Mm-hmm.
with no
No reason.
external force.
Right.
And he said, must have been the wind.
at this, what is this trying to say? As this is happening, the fire alarm went off 1 to 3 a.m. As we got up and out of bed, it turned off. It immediately stopped. I replaced the battery, cleaned dust, tested for carbon monoxide with our separate alarm. Nothing. When all this happens, we both seem to wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. Then this all stops and nothing ever falls. The alarm never goes back on, and there are no weird noises. Until it comes back, I told her that it's all just an old house and things fall. The fridge is a little older, so maybe we don't close it all the way. There's explanations for everything. The other day, these things all happened again while she was in the shower. The picture frame we have in the bathroom fell and shattered, and that's what it did. That's what did it for her. She was telling me she wants to leave. She's paranoid. But I told her she needs to seek help for her paranoia with this because it's starting to be too much. We cannot leave now. There are no ghosts. I think it's haunted.
Let me just start by saying on their relationship that whether or not this is actually a mental hurdle for this woman, just based on the way he wrote the story and the verbiage that he used in his story, it does not seem to me that he is very supportive when it comes to this, whether it is actually her mental health that's suffering or they do got the ghosty poos floating around knocking shampoo bottles off.
I agree.
He's not being supportive. End of the day. So yes, he is the asshole for that reason.
Absolutely.
But paranormally speaking,
Paranormally.
bit sus.
It is.
But what if we thought of it this way? So everyone has keys to each other's houses. What if they have a stalker? She's gonna jump off the deep end there.
Like a Frogger?
Yeah, like what happens if someone just like got a key to their apartment? Because everyone has keys to everyone else's apartments.
Maybe they have a skeleton key. They have a skelly key.
But anyway, yeah, that seems ghost derived to me.
It's like it was built in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. First of all, that's an automatic check for being haunted.
Yeah. And he's just like, It's just old. She's paranoid. Things are falling. Cats are peeing.
Also, did
There's
we make sure that the cat was okay?
there's like nothing else.
My dude.
I did my research too. I went like back like to their it's a throwaway account.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
So they just posted that all over.
Oh, no, hold on. Sorry, I didn't plug the computer in. It's gonna die. Okay, now that the death of the computer has been avoided, um,
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that it's a possibility it could be haunted. I also believe that like if you are having some kind of mental crisis, you can form your own
mhm,
like poltergeist kind of thing. But the fact that it's in an 1800s home and these things are happening when he's just home too,
mhm,
and nobody else is in the other apartments that are connected, it makes me think that
yeah,
it's the home,
mhm,
100%.
for sure. And the fact that things have happened with him in the house and nobody else around,
Mm-hmm.
and he still is saying those things to her,
He's the a-hole.
he's the a-hole.
100%.
100%. Yep. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to do yours?
Okay, we are gonna switch over to scary camping stories. So, as I teased in our last episode, I absolutely love doing backcountry camping, which means you take everything you're going to need for your time that you're going to be gone, you cram it in a backpack, and you head out. You hike out however many miles, you set up camp, and then you're good to go. So, a lot of these stories that I'm going to read today are more of car camping, which means you pull your car up to your campsite, you stop, you either unload your car and set up your tent, or a lot of people do like to sleep in their car as kind of an extra layer of security and comfort, I think. Um, but nonetheless, you're still out in a rural part of the world with potentially no other humans around for miles and miles and miles, and that alone can be, I think, terrifying.
Yeah,
Especially if
absolutely.
you let your mind take over.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's get started, I suppose. Uh, so this one is coming from somebody who, let's see, they were camping in Nevada. So this is the Meadow Valley Wash, a couple miles south of Calente, Nevada. I don't think I said that right. Um, it's a small seasonal tributary that feeds into Lake Mead and the Colorado River. I usually drive up along the river, utilizing a dirt maintenance trail along an active railroad that passes some old abandoned cabins and beautiful untouched nature. I've camped along this river a few times, both in tents and the back of my car, and I've always considered it a familiar and comfortable place. This trip, I found a nice spot along the water, set up my trunk for sleeping overnight, and explored the area. First, can I just say how important it is to explore your area? Because quick plug here for a minute. I'm a massive fan of Survivor Man because he goes out and he does proper survival skills and he actually teaches you things. And that is one of the biggest things that I ever took away from any of his shows was explore your area because it doesn't matter what time of day or night it is, it's always going to look the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you can help to settle your mind like that
Yeah.
by saying, oh, well, a twig snapped, but that's okay because I know it's the tree that's like 50 yards to the east of me, kind of thing. So I think that's vitally important. So my dude did a good thing here by exploring his area first, which he already said he's pretty comfortable with. So we've checked some good boxes so far. So he explored his area. I found cattle tracks from a nearby farm that released all of their animals a few years back. I found crayfish in the shallow waters. I found some beautiful flowers and old equipment from some nearby settlement or old railroad post. I sat down after a while and started reading. The thing about camping out here that you have to get used to is the quiet.
Mhm.
The desert is soft, and on still days with no wind like this, it's silent. There's not often birdsong even in green areas like this. The only thing that you can hear is your own movements and the light trickle of the stream in front of you. Your brain automatically starts paying attention to all the little sounds. It makes them louder, it distorts them when they're sudden, and your brain tends to think of the worst possibility when you hear oh, when you hear the tweaks, when you hear a twig break. Something called my name from behind me.
No.
Yes.
No.
I had just finished eating, put away my grill. I was sitting in my chair looking at the view above, and heard clear as day a deep woman's voice calling my name from behind me. It didn't sound threatening. It was just a whisper. It wasn't just a whisper. It wasn't indicating it needed any help or anything. Just simply my name. I cannot fully express the utter terror I felt in that moment. I felt like a child again. Hair stood up everywhere, and my subconscious screamed at me to run.
Mm.
I genuinely don't know how I composed myself. I got up, looked around the front of my vehicle, opened the driver's door, and checked the seats. It was getting dark, and I didn't dare go into the woods.
Mm-mm.
I started sweating. My face got hot, my breathing quickened. I could explain the noise easily enough, auditory hallucination, but I couldn't rationally explain my behavior or reaction to it. If it wasn't real, why was I so fucking scared?
Yeah.
I nearly threw my things into the back of the car, secured nothing, got in, and drove out as the sun was setting. I had this uneasy feeling of being watched the entire ride back into town, like something was in my vehicle with me, or I'd check a side or rear view mirror and seeing a figure bounding after me in the dark. Do you have any similar experiences? Question, question, question. And we will, in short moments, get to those similar experiences, but for that guy, I don't know.
That's really
Yeah,
creepy.
yeah, there's something,
A deep woman's voice
yeah,
saying his name.
yeah.
That's really creepy.
I just find something, and I have to talk myself out of it or I will freak out, but there's just something so, like, terrifying about being secluded.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you know you are perfectly fine and there is nothing wrong and there's nothing out there that's going to hurt you, it's just so scary thinking about being alone because of all the possibilities. Like, what if there is something out there? What if something goes wrong?
Yeah.
All of the ifs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you hear it. You have no way to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's really scary.
It's not my favorite.
Oof. Oof. I understand why all his he got chills and
Yeah.
everything. That's really
I'm
creepy.
getting chills.
You getting chills? This one. Okay. This one's really long.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know. It's from Paranormal Encounters. Encounters.
Okay.
Paranormal Encounters. Subreddit. Okay. A demon texted me in 2017.
They texted you. What is Satan teaching them down there in hell?
I don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna read it as it's on here.
Okay.
Okay. It's a younger person. I'm literally having chills thinking about this, but my cousin and I were just talking about it for so long, and we're so confused by how this whole situation and by this whole situation and how we don't know what to make of it. This was January 13th, 2017. I was 14 years old and I was sleeping over at my cousin's house for a few days. We woke up early this morning and decided to go on a walk around the neighborhood. This is a semi important detail. I forgot to charge my phone the night prior, so it was dead when I woke up. So I left it on the charger in my cousin's bedroom while we went out on our walk. In my cousin's neighborhood was this one weird, creepy house that had a large wooden cross with a pentagram attached to it. I'm talking like a 7 to 8 foot tall cross in the front yard. Me and my cousin were joking around about it and how it's demonic and flipped off the house.
Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
done messed up.
Mm-hmm. This was around 9 to 10 a.m. The walk only lasted about 5, maybe 10 minutes before we arrived back at my cousin's house and completely forgot about what had happened at the house with a large pentagram cross. At around noon to 1 p.m., I get a text on my phone from a number 609 362 3634.
A lot of threes.
There's 3 6s. Just saying. I'll never forget the number because this was probably the creepiest and most unexplained thing that has ever happened to me. I got a text in all capitals saying, "We did not appreciate your little gesture." There was more to it, but I can't remember most of it. I received many similar messages, and they were quite long too. Not just one sentence like that. I remember apologizing and begging whoever or whatever was contacting me to please stop texting me, but I kept receiving weird cryptic messages. It could not have been my cousin because he was in the room at the same time as me while this was all happening, and he was just as terrified as me. I even received a photo of the front of my cousin's house, but when we looked outside, nobody was there. I kept receiving texts from for the next hour or so. Maybe I remember this one vividly. It said, "We mean no harm, only justice."
What?
Then this is the weirdest
Excuse me?
part. So get ready. My mom texts me and goes, "Is everything okay?" And I was confused because I haven't told her about anything that's been going on today. I check the messages and see that my phone has texted my mother the exact following phrase: 666 death me, love on my Dre, and me love on my address. I got full body chills just trying, just typing that out just now. I didn't know how to explain to my mom that I didn't say any of this and my phone has somehow been hacked. Here's the weird part. At the time, me and was my so it's love. I said this.
Mhm.
This is the emoji that he put for love. So me, so then his name and then this was my contact name for myself on my phone. So it was the blah, blah, blah. So it was essentially essent if I could speak,
Spike.
it was essentially saying to my mother that I was at their address. I'm still not sure what they meant by Dre. All I've been able to find is something having to do with beer. I haven't ever heard of that. I wish I had screenshots of all this, but I was 14 and deleted everything because you don't understand how unimaginably terrified I was at this whole situation. My aunt tried calling the number multiple times to try and confront the weirdo harassing a 14-year-old, but it would say the number was not in service. Whoever was doing this was spoofing their number. This point, at this point, I just wanted to go home. I was
Mhm.
so scared I didn't know what to do. me and my cousin looked outside in the backyard to see the roof of the house. And does the oh my gosh, if I could speak. To see the roof of the house. And dozens of black crows were lined up on the roof.
The murders.
That's what a flock of crows is called. It is called a murder.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, the murders are gathering.
Yeah. Um, that was it for me. I called my mom and was literally crying because of how scared I was. I thought I was under some sort of curse or something. After I went home, I had no more encounters with the phone number. However, for about a year, I never returned to my cousin's house just out of fear.
Understandable.
Yeah. One day in 2018, I finally returned to my cousin's house. After being there for about an hour or two, I received a text from another random number of coordinates. I instantly knew what it was and why I received this text and didn't even check where the coordinates lead to. I was so fucking scared.
I would have put
I
those coordinates.
instantly blocked the number and deleted the conversation without replying. Oh, I then left my phone to die and gave it to my aunt to hold on to and said not to give it back to me until he was ready to go home. I was so scared to use my phone. For about 2 to 3 years after this, I had my location services completely disabled on all of my devices because I was convinced that whoever was doing this to me was tracking me somehow. There obviously no more there's obviously no more shit that went down, but like that's all the important stuff. I'm not even gonna talk about when my cousin and I were home alone at his house, hearing knocking on the window.
That's some demony stuff right there. Demons be strong.
There's like a couple paragraphs where he's trying like to debunk it, but I think that's like the gist of the story.
You know, whether or not that's paranormal,
That's creepy as hell.
that's really, really creepy. That is so creepy. And it's not out of the realm of possibilities that an adult with a little bit of knowledge of how, like, that kind of stuff works couldn't just work some stuff up to scare a kid because they walked past and flipped off their house. And clearly we're feeling a little bit edgy if we've got an 8-foot cross with a pentagram in our front yard. We're a little on the edgy side if that's how we're presenting ourselves. So
a little creepy. A little creepy.
uh-huh.
I wouldn't put it past someone.
Yeah. So I'm not saying by any means that that is not creepy.
Yeah.
There's definitely alternative explanations.
Yeah, absolutely. But to a
But
14-year-old, that's terrifying.
that would be terrifying to me as an adult.
I guess. I don't know.
Because I definitely talk about people's houses when we walk past them.
Oh.
And not necessarily in a nice way either.
Do you remember when we were going door to door and that creepy house?
Oh my god, the one that had
it was scary. It was scary.
It had like plastic and foil all over the front windows. It had these massive windows in the front, plastic and aluminum foil all over it. It also had numerous sticky notes on it, and there were literally words like guns written on it,
all over it.
Keep out and go away. But
it was bad.
Like 85.
This was not spooky time.
This was not spooky time.
It was not spooky time.
It was like in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
But like 80% of the sticky notes just said guns.
It was really creepy. It was really creepy. And like the yard was all grown up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And like the paint was tripping off the house. It was just scary.
Yeah.
It was like Monster House 2.0.
But scarier because I feel like they would have come at us with their guns.
Yeah, we did not knock on that door.
Absolutely
we just
turn around and leave.
Yeah, it was really creepy. Do you have another story?
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to know?
Folks.
Okay. So I am building off of the original story because the guy had asked if anyone experienced anything similar. Um so this is somebody's response. I had a strange experience this past weekend. We says we was camping. We were camping on the southeast side of Reddish Knob, which is in George Washington National Forest in Virginia. It's only an hour or so away from Dolly Sods. It's around 3 a.m. and I was sound asleep. Then I heard a man scream, "Help me!" I immediately sat up and listened for another scream or some sound, and there was nothing.
Mm-mm.
My tent had the rain fly on and I couldn't see out, so after a few minutes, I got out of the tent and walked about 20 feet and shined my bright flashlight all around, and it was quiet, no movement. That's how you die, sir.
Help me!
That is how the demons come out of the bushes,
Oh my gosh, they
snatch
lure you.
and
They,
you die.
it was like wrong turn too. They luring you out.
Exactly. That's how you die.
The heels of eyes.
That's how you walk around and you go, "Johnny, is that you making a sandwich in the kitchen?" And you walk in there and it's not Johnny. It's Michael Myers, and he's making a sandwich with Johnny's blood. And now your blood.
The chainsaw man.
Like, it's not. Don't get out of the tent. Maybe that's just me being a baby again, but.
No.
So he didn't see anything, though. Just the normal sounds of the woods at night, which alone can be creepy. Just the sounds of the woods at night can be creepy enough.
It's relaxing to me.
Creepy. I camp a lot, and I stopped being concerned about different sounds in the woods as I've heard almost every type of animal, and it just doesn't bother me. The sound of a man screaming like he was being murdered was like my worst nightmare come to life. I know the old saying for Appalachia: if you thought you heard something, no, you didn't. And when I thought I should yell out to see if there would be a response, I decided it would be better to be quiet. My girlfriend was with me and she bolted up from a sound sleep at the same time, and we both looked in the same direction. She didn't hear the "help me," but she couldn't describe what the sound was exactly. The strange thing was that even before I opened my eyes, I knew exactly where the sound came from. Not a general direction, but an exact spot around 50 yards away. I camped in the same site 3 years ago myself. It was rainy and a slight fog in the air. I got to the area late and had to find a site in the dark and happened upon this one. Normally, I would walk around and see what's around, but it was late and raining off and on, so I decided to forego set a walk. Oh goodness, I decided to forego setting up the tent and sleep in the car that night. I had a small fire and sat there for about an hour or so, and I kept having this feeling that someone was watching me. I turn around now and again and look, but there was nothing there, and there was no sound of anything moving, so it was probably just in my head. I went to the car and went to sleep, but I woke up every 30 minutes or so with the same feeling like something was watching me.
Ooh.
I had the windows up and I couldn't shine a light outside without putting them down or opening the car door because of the reflection of the glass. And again, we know that's how you die.
Yeah.
You don't roll the windows down in the middle of the night.
Absolutely not.
I ended up putting a lantern on the roof of my car to shed some light around me. Nothing happened, just didn't sleep at all and packed up and left early. When we pulled into the site this weekend, I recognized it immediately. That it isn't a bad campsite overall. It's set back from the road and a ways and sits along a stream. I didn't have that weird feeling and thought it would be a good place to camp for the weekend. It was fine until the scream late at night, which, is typically how things go.
Yeah.
It's fine until somebody screams, "Help me," in the middle of the night.
Help me. Yeah, that's creepy as hell.
We ended up moving the next day to a campsite on the ridge where we had stayed before. It was occupied when we first got there, and the people camping had left in the morning. Both experiences can be explained in some way. First time I camped there, I was alone and it was late, so it could have been that I was more sensitive to the surroundings. What we heard this weekend could have been an animal, but I can't say as to what kind. To me, it sounded like a man screaming. There usually is an explanation for strange experiences. I know one thing. I'm not camping at that side again.
Mm-mm.
The Appalachian are wonderful, but they are different from any other region in the US. It's hard to explain, but they just feel different. It feels like it has secrets from long ago that reveal themselves every now and again. Despite strange stuff, I'm looking forward to going back. And then, for those of you that don't know, the Appalachian Mountains are the oldest mountain range in the US for sure. Might be in the world, I'm not sure, but definitely they are the oldest mountain range in the US. So they definitely hold some secrets of a long ago past we cannot even imagine.
There's like this huge trend going on TikTok right now. Like people sharing their stories
Mm-hmm.
at the Appalachian.
I
It's
can't wait to go.
it's like and they are so scary. And everybody's just like, okay, someone came.
So the siren is our tornado sirens. Just to give you a hint, we live in the Midwest. So I think we're going to take a pause until the tornado sirens are done testing for this week.
Okay, so one person posted their Appalachian story.
Mm-hmm.
And like the people that live there too, like see things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like one person started it, and then so many people came out with like camping stories, people who live over there. It is insane. Like the stories are crazy. Like we might have to share some of the like TikToks and stuff and like react to them or something. That would be fun.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I don't know why, but so just like the Ritual movie,
Ah,
I
yes.
for some reason those types of things scare me more than other things because it just seems like it's something that can actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this really morbid curiosity to be scared before doing things that are related to it. So I like to read people's horror stories while camping and then go camping so I can be extra scared and not sleep that night.
That's so funny because you are the biggest weenie. You are the biggest weenie. Like the biggest. You're gonna be
I
seeing
just
some floating lights and you're gonna be like, Rabbit! Rabbit! He's gonna be like, oh yeah, I see it.
yeah, that's pretty much how that goes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you're gonna be like, girl, just sleep. They're having their best life. They're floating, hanging
As
out.
long as they don't abduct me, we good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so last story for me for today. Um, another camping story. Lifelong touring cyclist, 30 years in Japan, often camping in cemeteries around the world for quiet and safety. Apparently, they usually have excellent facilities and power, which I guess makes sense because they've got to keep up with the graveyards
That's
and
really cool.
um, I find that a little scary in and of itself, but
I don't think you can do that in the US.
yeah, I don't know if that's a thing in the US. I don't know if they allow that
I don't
here.
think you can do that.
I think if you're caught sleeping in the cemetery in the US, they arrest you for like indecent exposure or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But they have a much different culture over there with their cemeteries, so it's I think better. I feel like we have a slightly negative view on cemeteries when we really shouldn't here. So
I agree,
yeah.
100%. 100%.
So this individual's touring Japan on a bike. That first of all sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So was doing Japan north to south and just going through a rural area, no homes, no people, sun setting, just a beautiful summer day.
Mm.
Off to the night, beautiful green meadows, small creek with the tall bamboo trees, lots of shade, maybe the most beautiful area to stealth camp, bathe and take a day or two off. They set up camp, took a bath in the river, and they were just coming back to the bike and tent when I had this overwhelming, oppressive feeling like I was being pushed down and into the earth.
Ooh.
Fell to my knees, struggled to get up, threw everything into my burly touring trailer, and pedaled away as fast as I could. Gradually, the feeling faded. About an hour later, riding in the dark, I came across a solitary roadside ramen shop. And they
Mm.
put a little ramen emoji in there, which makes my soul really happy. Um, I pulled in. The owner came over and asked me what the problem was, and I explained the situation. He asked me if I saw anything. I said no. He explained that there had been many battles along the river, and the locals never go there.
Oh.
70 years old now and never had any trouble except for that day. Be safe out there and listen to your instincts.
Oof. Yeah. That, I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah. The
Ooh.
souls of the damned were coming out. Scary,
Yeah, that is
for
scary.
sure.
At first, I was thinking, um, that it was something, like it had something to do with, I don't remember what it's called. I'm sure maybe you know. Um, when you overexert yourself, doing like some kind of like exercise or sport,
Mm-hmm.
and your body just literally stops working.
And you cook your proteins.
It's, I don't remember what it's called. There's some kind of like sport medicine name for it, but that's what I thought at first.
Hmm.
But then the whole battle thing, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I gotta get cozy
Cozy for the final story of
for the
the episode.
final story. Okay, so I've got English, please. I have another story from the subreddit. Am I the asshole?
Probably.
Would I be the a-hole
Mm-hmm.
if I suggested therapy for my creepy bone collecting niece?
Are you just like giving me a heads up for what's gonna happen to me in a few years?
Oh my gosh.
So I know what not to say.
Okay, listen. Just Am I
I'm very excited. Go.
Okay. She's 5 and the creepiest person I've ever met. For starters, the questions she asks are off the wall. She once asked me if she could feel my skin to make sure I was warm and living, and how many buckets of blood I thought were inside a cow. Those are just two of the recent ones. When she's not asking questions, she's staring into the distance or occasionally straight into your eyes with a blank look on her face.
So she's staring into your soul.
It sounds like it. She is an intelligent, precocious child. Precocious, precocious, precocious child. And sometimes when I'm around her, I feel like I am on the movie Orphan. Spoiler, full-grown woman in a little girl's body.
Mm-hmm.
She's articulate for her age, and her parents say it's because she reads so much. She's in first grade because she skipped kindergarten and has already read all of the Harry Potter books. Even so, I feel like she knows way more than possible for someone so young. She's never shown any aggression or violence towards anyone, but I feel like she's not normal. I once saw her picking hairs off of family member's jacket and putting them in a little plastic baggie. This girl has a mason jar full of chicken bones on her nightstand.
What?
I'm not making this up. Every time her family eats a rotisserie chicken, she picks out the bones she likes and puts them in the jar.
So she chooses her favorites.
I am 19 years old and terrified of this small child. I get uneasy even going to their house because I'm afraid I'll see her in the corner counting her little bird bones. Would I be the a-hole if I suggested my brother take her to therapy? The rest of my family just thinks she's a normal, kooky kid and she'll grow out of her creepy tendencies. Am I wrong for thinking that there's something not okay with her?
Let me tell you. I was 5 once. I did not collect bones and put them on my nightstand. That is in fact something I did not do. And I would say I was kind of a weird kid. Like, I'm sure we all were very strange children. We all had our own
Mhm.
quirks. Um, that makes me very sad. That that makes me uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I don't like that.
Mm.
I don't like that.
Okay, so I
Um,
have two views. Okay. View number one,
mhm,
future psychopath, serial killer. Okay. Number two, she is an extremely intelligent child that does not get the right stimulation that she needs for
mhm,
her mind
mhm,
and her environment.
mhm,
And she may grow up to be like a doctor or a forensic like biologist or
mhm.
something like that.
Serial killer?
Um like Dexter Morgan or
Mhm,
Dahmer.
mhm,
But I do think that like that is a possibility.
mhm,
She could be extremely interested in bio anatomy and biology, um, but she doesn't know how to explain that,
mhm.
you know? I think she just might be really, really smart, or she might, be a mini sociopath. You never know.
So, if you take away the fact that she's a child, because like if a human does that, that's also like not a human. Well, yes, a human, but like an adult does those types of things. It's also creepy.
Yeah.
But a child doesn't necessarily know any better
Mm-hmm.
at 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So collecting bones and asking how many buckets of blood are in a cow. I mean, I suppose a good response to how many buckets of blood in a cow would be what size buckets are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And you could, properly answer the question
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Since this could be a very innocent curiosity,
Right.
I don't think it would be wrong to have a conversation with her dad of these tendencies have the potential to go in a less than savory way.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just make sure she's okay. Make sure she's feeling okay. Make sure her soul is bright and happy and
Yeah.
that she just really likes
Mm-hmm.
bones.
Yeah. Because I think regardless, therapy could be useful, especially if she's more advanced than other children around her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that can kind of give her an out there, and the
Mhm.
therapist can kind of assess and be like, you know, they're, this child is not placed where they should be. Maybe they need to move her to some kind of private school or something that is more beneficial for her because it sounds like
Mhm.
she's bored.
Yeah, if we're collecting bones in a jar.
Yeah, and hairs.
And hairs.
off of people's jackets. Like
Uh-huh.
like that's kind of like why I said biology or anatomy is because those things are kind of related.
Human pieces.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, hey, listen, I was just trying to think. Wait, she's 5.
I mean, I was super into that. I'm still super into that kind of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I also would not have been allowed to keep a jar of chicken bones on my nightstand. My
Yeah.
parents would not have allowed that.
Mm-mm.
So who knows? If my parents would have allowed that, maybe I would have done something creepy like that.
I think the closest thing is like rocks. Like that's it. Like I mean my son still has rocks. He's just like, "Oh, that's a cool rock. Now we have to keep it."
Hmm.
You know?
He tries to give me his rocks sometimes.
Yeah, me too. And I'm like, "I don't want those. They're yours."
Those are your special rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, you know?
Maybe he'll be a geologist when he grows up. Maybe he'll stone people to death when he grows up, you know?
Oh my
Like, I'm
god.
just saying, with the
Hannah.
logic that we're using right now, it can go that way for him as well. It can go that way for any
And
situation.
okay, I
It
hear
just,
you.
you hear me, yes. It just
I
seems a little more weird because, and it's only more weird because she's collecting bones and
Mhm.
asking questions that would normally make people feel weird because normally people don't ask how much blood is in a cow.
Yeah, no, that's not normal, but you also have to think this is a 5-year-old that's reading college level books.
It's also deemed more normal for a child to bring home a rock
Absolutely.
as opposed
Or Cat in the
to,
Hat books.
oh, I was like, you're telling me your children brought home a cat and a hat and you did not tell me because,
No, no, no.
okay,
So
okay.
like the books, like the thing is that she's read all of the Harry Potter books.
I
Those
haven't
are
even done that.
those are college level books, like reading level.
They are.
Mhm. They are.
Regardless,
I don't know.
I think it's only weird because it is biological things that she is collecting and interested in
Mhm.
versus like toys or what's the latest and greatest on the internet or rocks or blades of grass.
Yeah.
Because if she collects those things, people are like, "Oh yeah, she's kind of weird, but it's normal."
Yeah, it is normal. Kids collect.
And any child that collects anything or anyone for that matter
Mhm.
could just go off the deep end.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Well, I don't know. I think speaking of chicken bones,
mhm.
the other night when you left the house,
Was the chicken night?
um my daughter stepped on something right in front of the door going into the house.
Mhm.
And oh no, it wasn't the other night. It was the other morning when she wasn't feeling well and she missed half the day.
Mhm.
Um I went to go check the mail and she went out and followed me. And then when we were going back in, she was like, ow. And something fell off her foot and she picked it up and she's like, what is this? And looked at it. It's the inside of a bird's mouth.
Like a beak?
Like the inside, like the roof of its mouth and like teeth. And the teeth like
So, was it your secret admirer that dropped that off?
bro,
The
I
one that's
don't
been
know.
giving you guys offerings?
I don't know if it's a crow or if it's a cat that
Yeah,
keeps dropping things off at my front door.
that's really cool though.
Yeah, but I threw it away and we both washed our hands.
Yeah, makes sense.
But like it was really weird. It was really weird because it
Yeah.
like stuck to her foot and then like when she went to take
Oh, yeah,
another
it's
step
got
it
like little
like fell off. Yeah.
mhm.
It was like little itty bitty teeth. Ugh. Yeah.
There's offerings.
So yeah, creepy,
Hmm.
spooky.
But yeah, to come back full circle on that, it depends on how he handles that conversation with his brother as to
Absolutely.
whether or not he's going to be the asshole. It really depends on how he handles the conversation.
I mean, the thing is he can always go about it a way rather than saying she's really creepy and freaks me out.
Hmm.
Could say,
That's not a nice way to go about it.
she is really intelligent and she has, you know, questions about things that are not normal for her age. Maybe she should have a therapist so that she could talk about these things.
Hmm.
And then the therapist can do an assessment and figure out what's going on. You know what I mean?
If there is anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. Episode 2. So, so we will be here every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday we will upload. We still don't have a time figured out, so we'll get that figured out soon. But every Thursday we will be here. You can click the notification bell if you want, and it'll let you know when we do upload. And that's it. Yep. Spooky time's almost here. Like it's spooky time, but the spooky day.
Yep.
It's almost here. It's coming.
We will also be top secret releasing a Halloween special episode. I would say more information to come, but there won't be any. Just look out for it. It's top secret, but it's coming at you.
Yeah.
As always, if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, anything like that, leave them down in the comments. If you have any experiences that are relatable to what we've talked about today, we would love to hear about them. So until next time,
Bye.
bye.